Hello. Welcome to vlog number 13. Nearly 2 weeks. Woo! Small achievement. Alright. Today I've been doing a lot of reading about the process of all of this and how it works. That's right. I'm unprofessionally eating while I do this because I want to. I'm the only one watching this. Or if someone or anyone who has snuck into this channel and found out, well, you know what you're in for. Today I've been doing a lot of reading. I joined Skillshare, the most infamous / helpful site for all of anyone who watches a lot of YouTube. It's a good site when you're actually using it. I love learning. I spend a lot of time doing it, but I am a chronic course starter and then not finisher. I'm trying to get in the habit of not doing that. And because I'm doing this, I have a reason, I guess, to hook it to. I find that I'm very good when there's a reason to study it. I'm good with it. And I think that probably applies to a lot of people. Picking up educational things, if you feel like, oh, I'm not too invested in this, why would you keep doing it? Because I'm playing around with this YouTube stuff, I'm doing it every day, I'm starting to enjoy it. I want to have this goal of making each video like this much better, bit by bit. I don't know what I'll do to make this one better, apart from have clear content. I don't know. I'll do a better thumbnail because it's one of the videos that I was reading about. Oh, maybe I should make a story. Because that's, okay, I'm going to go from the top. This is what I actually learned today. What I can prove today is just there's a sharpness of content for a change, perhaps, even though I spent 2 minutes shambling around. I did a course on how to, the story. So it's talking more about vlogging specifically and like an introduction to it. It was a fairly short course. It was about 40 minutes, I think. But I went through and I took a lot of notes. So I was pausing it a lot and looking at what he meant and then watching other videos to sort of get an idea of how often this was used. Essentially, it's a way to apply the hero's journey to the vlog, and you hear this a lot if you're involved with YouTubing and all of that, any kind of media creation. They talk about creating a story in these strictly non-story mediums, and I was always kind of snobbish towards that. I'm just sort of like, how could you even do it, because you can't control it fully, but you can. And their main point was, what did I have? I went through from the top. You want to start when making a vlog, you just go, you need to come up with an outlandish idea. Usually what they're doing is like his example was going around and telling strangers that they love them, throwing darts at a map and then going to the location. Skit stuff, essentially. I don't think that's really my kind of jam, but like I get how that's a good example of what they're talking about. Maybe I should try and do that. Maybe that'll be the next one of these. But you try and film as much content as possible. Accounting for B-roll, which I learned about on one of the other episodes the other day. Especially important for the intro, they reckon. You want to have some opening shots of landscapes and all that, and you want to have multiple angles, you want to apply slow motion to them, and you want to throw some music. Especially at certain points in this, there's a fair bit of montage to make it visually interesting. And it's something which I knew, but I didn't appreciate. After doing this course, I went through and watched a heap of channels that I like. Game Theory, Wisecrack, are good examples, plus some video essay channels and so on. And yeah, there's a lot of visual. I think the key thing with successful YouTube channels is that there's visual content punctuating everything people say. It's just like a blog. Well, I really liked crack.com back in the day because it would be an article that was somewhat funny, and then it would punctuate it with a picture which had a joke in it, and then it would keep talking, and then there was a picture, a heap of pictures, almost like reading a comic. And good vlogs do that in some form. They show a lot of things happening. In vlogs, it's, of course, they're actually filming people going out and doing stuff and interacting with the world. But then in stuff like Game Theory, where it's essentially just a voice and then infographics jumping around and cuts and really aggressive cutting in Game Theory, everything Matt Pat says in Game Theory, it's punctuated with a new visual or a change in the visual in some form. Wisecrack, similar, except they're a lot more reserved with it, so it's mostly movie clips, which is a good bit of visual content. They don't reveal the audio because that'll get you copyright struck. Maybe except for a small snippet of audio to within like 20-second range or something like that. I think I remember that from Every Frame of Painting talking about that. You didn't want to go over 30 seconds or the algorithm would betray you, essentially. Even though it's well within Creative Commons and all of that sort of stuff. The algorithm would just go, no, slap you with a sticker saying, no, it's someone else's. But they'll occasionally use the infographic examples too, usually for describing more complex points. Another channel is Friendly Geordies, which is a lot more webcam centric, and the way they do it is it's almost like he's trying to make a media make it look like the news. So he's standing there and he's got a thing up in the top corner, which I really like the idea of. I might fiddle around with that because I could do that live using Ob Studio, and it just flicks through it slideshow style as he goes, and then it occasionally cuts away to a gag, which will be a still image or like a meme, maybe a short video or something like that. So it's again even more simplistic compared to Wisecrack, but no wonder he can release so frequently because it's a very effective, quick turnover editing style. I'm going to go over more of these. I was looking at thumbnails as well. Thumbnails are interesting. It's stuff I already know because I've done a lot of art before this. Essentially, you want a visual hierarchy. They talk about there's a lot of open resource photo things you can go out and get, and then there's Canvas is a really good site which you can go on and you can you can do it all within it and then download it, and it's really good for that. A more advanced thumbnail, you'll want to use Photoshop or GIMP is the one they introduced in this Skillshare course I did. That I should remember the names of these, but it's not like I'm really getting them out there. But and in terms of getting free photos, what it was Pixabay, Pexel, and Unsplash were pretty good ones. Where you just use your own photos. And the thing that I came to after going through and looking at heaps of different channels that I like those same channels, plus some art channels because that's content I'm interested in. You want what I'm going to call the rule of three, probably already exists. So you want a central or large focal element somewhere in the picture. Then they'll tend to have secondary elements which tell a story or contribute to the story of the picture. Usually the central element is a face or something like that, or someone reacting or something like that. You'll see up the front. And then and then maybe I'll make a thumbnail of me in multiple stand in the background as a central element, and then it'll have the text. So you want a main element, a focal point, usually a face or something that really draws attention, a secondary element which tells a story, contributes to your story, and makes interest, and then a hook title in big text. Doesn't even have to be in complex. It might just be just a word or something like that. Game Theory is really good at it. A lot of art channel. Ross Draws is pretty good at it, but it's a different type of thing because it's art content. One which is very formulaic but well done is, what's her name? Jaden Animations. I was looking at that one. But the main thing is you want faces. Faces do a lot. Everything uses faces, or like someone doing something that you can somehow relate to and go, oh, because the selling of a video starts at the thumbnail, then the title, and then the first few seconds. That's your frame of accessing someone's attention. 8 minutes in, I'm going over my self-imposed limit of 5 minutes because that's what this really should be. But to go over the rest of what the vlogging's doing and how to apply that to the hero's journey, maybe I'll just make that a different video. No, let's cover it just real quick. So you want a cold open, which goes for less than 5 seconds, and it's a hook. It's something from later in the video taken out of context that has an emotional load to it. It makes a promise. Then you'll have your intro sequence or whatever, and then you'll have a short intro, which is probably like 10 seconds itself. And you want to introduce the prize, or like a goal / MacGuffin, or a question that this is about. You want an obstacle, so why is it hard to do, and why has it not already been done? And then a strategy on how you're going to do it. And you quickly introduce that, drop the title card. Now people have a reason to watch. If you've done those things, if you've done that thumbnail, you've done that title, which I didn't research, but you know what YouTube does like, and you've done that cold open and that intro well, people will stay for the video then. As long as you don't get visually boring, you keep punctuating with visual change. Sometimes in the most simplest format, I haven't sat down and done this with this go over, but I like a lot of video essays, and some of those are just silent clips from the show while a guy talks over the top and it shows text. And that's the extent of visual information. They might have their drawn avatar pop up now and then and just go burp, burp, and then pop off, and then like it'll just very minimalistic in that sense. And that still works because all it is text that provides the visual change, and the use of film clips. Video games, my video game channels are just, they do amazing. Or it's really good background stuff to talks. Like I should probably cut in some video. I'll just cut in myself playing Overwatch for this, for the rest of this or something like that. But you do that, your MacGuffin's established. The example he gives was like, the first line, supercars are the most luxurious cars in the world, which establishes your MacGuffin and your prize almost immediately. This is what we're talking about, cars. Turns out a lot of Saudi millionaires host them in London. Obviously, we could never afford one, and they've cut the images 3 times by this point, and then that's the obstacle. They couldn't afford one, but we always wanted to know what it was like. Again, obstacle, that's what they want. That's a want, a prize, properly established, I guess. Then they go, so while we're in London, we decided to hassle owners for rides, essentially, and that's their strategy. And then you got the video. That makes sense. I like that. So that's Act 1. As far as like a hero's journey, you establish your character, your hero, and their wants and their needs. Wants/needs in this case. Then you have the core action, which is in Hollywood terms would be called the fun and games, but that's exactly what this is. It's just, you have the character fail a heap of times to create tension and conflict. They get better and better. They modify their patterns as they go. They get closer, but then they still fail. And then you come to the middle point, and this is speaking in terms of short videos of like 4 minutes, but really it probably still applies in general. Then you have the actual sort of, this is how we're going to win. And then the way they talk about it is you really pay attention. It's like the final heist for this third quarter, which is Act 3. And it corresponds to the movies. I really like how it corresponds to the movies. Talking about the bad plan is usually what this would be, because it's a constricted video. It's more of a success story bit, but you really zoom in, and then in detail they try once more time using all that they've learned, and they succeed, and you get the golden moment, which is where they succeed. It really basks in it, and then you'll have a visual montage of just them being like, woo, we won, enjoying the thing. They'll just drive around the car in the video going blop blop, while it played uplifting music. And the music, that's another thing they talk about, especially for that scene, you want some sort of music. Then the last bit, which is a short bit, the last 30 seconds of a video or something like that in a 4-minute video, you have your outro where you introduce a takeaway. You want new B-roll in that, you don't want to reuse it because people get visually bored then. But it can be celebratory or it can be nostalgic. In terms of editing, you don't want to go over it and you want to be ruthless, just getting anything that doesn't contribute to that story that you've established. I've went on for way too long. I should have split this up, but I want to get that all out. I'm going to use this, I think, to talk about lessons and stuff that I've learned today, because I'm trying to do a lot of that at the moment. One other thing, I created a little book summarising all that. This is how I'm going to plan shit. I might have to go through and re-summarise some of that more clearly, but I'm going to try and implement some of this. Will it do an interesting thumbnail for this one? Maybe. It's probably not enough visual interest.